Education's regular meeting. It is 6 p.m. on Thursday, April the 8th, 2021. Chair calls this meeting to order. I would like to announce at this time that effective the next regular meeting of April the 22nd, 6 p.m., our new home for school board meetings will be in the Memorial Building. We will meet there from now on. It solves several problems. One problem is we will never have a problem with enough room for spectators. It solves another problem in that we have a boardroom we can go to when we find it necessary to go to executive session. I spoke with two different county commissioners, and I know Superintendent Warble met with the county commissioners. It's at no cost to us. It's a governmental building. It costs us nothing to meet there. That's important. But they were very happy to have us there, and they said they wanted to work with us in any way possible. So I publicly want to thank the county commission for allowing us to do that. There will be a better venue, and there'll be ample parking around over there, and we have plenty of room, and it's fully compliant for everything we need. So, having said that, that's April 22nd, 6 p.m. That's the future meeting place is the Memorial Building. Roll call. Let the minutes reflect that there are all four members are present in the building. I'd like to ask Mr. Brogan to do our invocation and pledge of allegiance at this time.
Our Father in heaven, we just want to thank you, Lord, always for giving us another beautiful day. We just thank you so much for just one day, another day this side of eternity. Father, we thank you for all the folks that are here attending tonight's meeting, showing their interest for what's going on in county board matters. Lord, we just pray that you would just help us tonight as we go through this meeting, through this agenda, that you would just help us, Lord, to go through each item. There's a lot of important things here tonight, and we just pray that you would guide us, Lord, in each thing that we do. We just pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, approval of agenda and adjustments. Do any members have any adjustments they would like to make to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as read.
If you wouldn't mind, I do have adjustment.
Okay, I can
Would
rescind
you mind
my motion.
withdrawing that? Okay. I move that we pull out the resignation, the first one, the resignation or retirement of Eric Widows. I move that be dealt with separately. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion on the floor by the chair, seconded by Vice President Farley, that the resignation and retirement of Eric Widows as Director of Facilities, Personnel, Technology, and Attendance, effective April 9, that be drawn out and dealt with separately, so there'll be an adjustment. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Let the minutes record that there were 4 votes in the affirmative to make that adjustment. Any others? That's the only one I have.
I'll make a motion again, Ben, that we take the agenda as read with the aforementioned change. Second.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride, that this board approve the agenda as presented to us by the superintendent, noting the one adjustment was made. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. 4 votes in the affirmative. The agenda has been approved with the one adjustment. Do we have public comments tonight?
I didn't see any.
Any group
No,
forms?
I don't
Okay,
see any.
public
No.
comment. We have a presentation. Is that transportation? Superintendent Warble?
Yes, we have one. I know Mr. Harv here is the Well, are you guys coming up, or are you gonna just
Yeah,
mess?
we'll come up.
Okay, I didn't know if they were messing with me. Yes. They're gonna present tonight from the bus garage. They have something that they would like to present to the FFA.
Now I know why you're here.
Okay.
You're welcome, Amy.
Good evening, I'm Harley Ward and chief mechanic at the bus garage. I'm accompanied with two bus operators, Mr. Steve Mounts and Mr. Jimmy Farley, which I appreciate. And I'm here on behalf of Mr. Brian Boone, which cannot be here this evening. And this presentation is in the memory of Mr. Robert Angel, which is sadly missed, and a great man. I had a lot of experience with him, and I wish I had more. But he done a lot of things that a lot of people don't know anything about. A lot of good things. Always kind, happy, all the above. Had a passion for the FFA, students, for everyone. So at the bus garage, the transportation department, which we got a great team of bus operators, but we took up a donation, and for the future site of the FFA, we raised $325. So, but anyway, this is for the FFA, for the future site, and in memory of Mr. Robert Angel. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys so much. The kids will, they'll be writing you some thank you cards. We've been working on our handwriting skills and thank you cards, also in memory of Mr. Angel. I can't tell you how thankful we are to further this project that was, Mr. Angel was so instrumental in getting started for these kids. And thank you so much. We'll put it to good use.
Very well.
Lots of people do, but if there's anyone who's a leader in this area of operating about what's best for kids in Summers County, was Robert Angel. And anyway, we all know that, and I think an awful lot of other people in the county know that. Any other presentations, Superintendent?
No, sir.
We move to item 6, which is approval of minutes, March 25th, 2021. Everybody has those in your packet. I know they were sent out to you on your email. Any discussion, any questions? If not, Chair would entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor by Vice President Farley, second by Mr. Brogan, that this board approve the minutes as presented to us by Superintendent Warble for the March 25th, 2021 board meeting, regular meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstaining. 4 votes in the affirmative, Mr. Warble. March 25th minutes have been approved. We now move on to an item, student success stories, and that's what we're here for. And it is called Young Writers. Superintendent Warble.
Susie, you want to come on up here? Well, tonight, speaking of student success stories, we would like to honor 3 students from Talcott Elementary and 1 student from Summers Middle School. And students, when you come up, I know we're trying to stay socially distant, so if you just want to give an elbow, fist bump, or, smile and do a fake hug, however you want to do it. But this is our board president, Stan Duncan, and I know our middle school students know this, but this is Susie Hudson. She's our middle school principal. So we would like to honor and recognize you tonight for your talents. I've been watching the last 4 nights, not that anybody cares, PBS on Ernest Hemingway and his life. And it's sure interesting what writers go through to get what they need to put on the paper. And it's really awesome to see our students compete in the Young Writers Contest. and also to honor them with the young writers. And normally, when we're handing out these awards, it seems like the girls really participate. And again, the numbers are showing tonight, 3 out of 4 are ladies. So we have one young male student here tonight, and I'll start with him because I know he's excited to come up here. Okay. He is from Talcott, and his name is Isaiah Fitz.
There you go, buddy.
There you go.
Congratulations, that's a great job.
So Isaiah, I have a question for you. What did you write about? Because I'm sure these board members and the community out here would like to know. Do you remember what you wrote about?
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us what you wrote about?
This boy named Hero, and he did a lot of stuff.
He did a lot of stuff. Can you tell me what kind of stuff? Like, did he play baseball? Bill?
He saved 3 animals.
He saved 3 animals. Okay, that's pretty cool. Are you into animals?
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you have any at home?
Yes.
Okay.
2
Does
cats, 1 dog.
any of your parents know this? Well, we'd like to congratulate you. Good job, big guys. Let's give another round of applause.
Thank you, Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah, you can sit down, buddy.
I believe we have another person from the Fitz family, Miriam Fitz. Come on up, Miriam.
Miriam, there's your certificate. You'll do. Congratulations.
Now, Miriam and I joked a little bit earlier today, and she said, am I going to read my story? And I said, well, you can talk about it. So would you mind telling us a little bit about your story?
Sure.
Okay.
My story was titled The Dog Did It. It was written in dialogue. There are 3 characters, October and August, who are my cats, and Goose, our dog. And it was kind of a little story about how October and August are trying to get this rogue Shadow to stop stealing their food. And they kind of use Goose, who's like overexcited and playful, to like scare Shadow away.
Okay.
And it's kind of real life, except that in real life they share their food with Shadow on purpose.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool. It sounds like the Fitz family likes animals. I
And
see
they
your
like to
shirt
write.
too. And they like to write as well.
That's
So
good.
congratulations, young lady. We appreciate your talents, okay? Congratulations.
Thank you.
We have one more student who's a 5th, 6th grade area for Talcott Elementary, and it's Alicia, and her last name is Clark. Alicia, did I get the first name right? Yes. Good deal. All right, let's congratulate her.
Alicia, congratulations.
So, Alicia, you know the drill. What did you write about?
I wrote about a little girl that went on a walk in a forest
Okay.
and came across a gate, and she ran into fairies,
Okay.
and she actually got turned into a fairy.
Did the fairies, can they sprinkle fairy dust and get rid of the pandemic?
I'm sure if they tried.
Okay. Okay. Well,
They
thanks.
could if you made them.
Yeah.
In your story.
Well, thank you for sharing. We appreciate that. Let's give her another round of applause.
A lot of creativity.
And we have a middle school student, and I'll let Miss Hudson talk a little bit about her later, because I'm sure you have good stuff to talk about this young lady. But I think I can pronounce Abigail Knight, right?
That's true.
Come on up. Congratulations. Is her teacher with her
Yeah,
today?
Miss
Miss
Cook's
Cook?
with her.
Miss Cook?
Yeah.
Jessica Cook's here today. Okay. Well, Jessica, I'll let you talk about your student, because as a middle school student, I got to talk with her a little bit tonight. And I could tell from her eyes, she's trying to figure out who I am. I could tell that. But I know she's creative because the way her mind, I can see it working. What did you write about?
A boy with autism
Okay.
who wasn't diagnosed until he was older, and he went to school for the first time, and he met someone that would like talk to him
Well, that's pretty cool.
because he like the communication was hard for him.
Oh, I bet. So your teacher, is she going to say wonderful things about you?
I hope so.
You hope so?
sure say she will.
So Ms. Cook, do you have anything you'd like to talk about your student tonight?
Yeah, so Abby Knight is a phenomenal writer, and what's really impressive is she wrote this story like an hour before it was due, maybe, which is really disappointing to me because of her creativity and how good she is. I couldn't imagine what it would be like if it, it would have been later. But what was really interesting about her story is she wrote from the perspective of being autistic, and
Oh, wow.
she described it so well that, I mean, I had other people judge, and they probably would have thought that she really was autistic. So, but she's just a phenomenal writer. She just needs confidence, and I think that she's wonderful. So
That's good to
I'm really
hear.
proud of her.
So
Thank
Abigail,
you.
I gotta ask you a question. Since my job is to recruit talent, would you be interested in teaching special ed someday in Summers County schools?
Maybe not in schools, but like therapy for them.
Okay, because there's a lady right there, Dr. Knott. She's in charge of all that, and she could probably use you. I'm always recruiting young talent, so it's never too late. How old are you right now? What grade?
14.
So you're gonna be a freshman?
Mhm.
You know we have CTE class that deals with education. Do you know that? I'm gonna help you with your schedule. Okay? All right. Well, let's give everybody a round of applause. Good job, Good job. If you guys want to go, you don't have to stay. You don't get extra credit either. I know you want to go, right? You want to go, don't you? Yep. Good job, guys. If you guys want to go, don't feel like you have to stay.
Thank you, sir.
A lot of talent there. That's good. Have a good one.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're next.
Good job, Abby.
Me?
Lou
Oh,
Kim,
yeah.
Instructional
Guys,
Initiative.
thanks for coming up.
Good
Appreciate
deal.
what y'all did.
Thanks, guys.
So much.
Thanks, Hart.
Well, young writers, great project,
Yeah.
and writing is higher than thinking. Writing is not something that you should just do in English class. There are plenty classes that allow for writing opportunities, and that's how you become a good writer with a lot of practice. And so that's very commendable. Any instructional initiatives at this time?
Yes, sir. Ken Lester is going to talk about LU, L-U with umlaut over the U. That's about all I know, and it's technology. So I'm going to just go ahead and yield to Mr. Lester to talk about LU technology.
So further down your items on your purchases over $20,000, you'll notice 3 quotes for Lou's, one for Hinton area, one for Jumping Branch, and one for Talcott. And a few other counties have implemented Lou's. This is the second version of it, and they just came out with the second version of it. But Doddridge, Monroe are just a couple that I know have purchased them. Someone told me that Doddridge used pipeline money to request to get theirs. I don't know, but they've evolved a little bit. $18,500 for a system is a lot of money, so I wanted to make sure that you guys had some background on it, and then you could ask me any questions you want on it. I also have the quote up per installation, so if you want to talk in detail about those.
I envision a world full of passion, of laughter, of learning. Each and every day, I engage thousands of children all around the world through immersive learning experiences. And now I bring this to a whole new level. Hi, I'm the new Lou. I have been completely redesigned for you to read better, to travel beyond books, and explore new spaces to learn, and for you to be engaged with all of your senses. This is my new heart. I'm right by your side, ready to push the limits even further. I'm easy to install, super flexible, and simple to use. I can now fit in a wider range of spaces. Together, let's open schools to new worlds.
All right, so I know you didn't want an advertisement, but that's the best video that I could find on the Lou. There are case studies where different school systems have videos out, how they use them. The one in Ohio talks a lot about STEM, and the Lou system, which is essentially a Windows machine that is built into the laser projector and the sound system and the lighting system. So the projector projects on the walls of the multi-purpose rooms, and then the lighting system, it's also projecting down on the floor. So the kids are in this environment. So you download games and applications that are applicable to what you're wanting to teach or what you're wanting to learn across the curriculum, whether it be in PE class and you're doing math on the wall or whatever. Another thing that Ms. Schaefer mentioned is kids learn in a lot of different ways, and some kids have to be up and moving. And another thing is, this is something that, you know, we hear a lot about kids wanting to go to homeschool, but here's another reason that you're not going to have this in the home. And it's definitely something that could be used in attendance rewards. If the school wants to do Lou time. All the principals have been asked, Angela Taylor, Angel Gum, and Jesse Rhodes. They all were consulted before we put that before the board. Now, the one thing I would pick out is it says it's easy to install, but there's a $4,500 installation charge per unit. So I know, I see that, so I expect you're gonna see that. So, any questions?
Is this primarily, did I understand you say it's elementary, K-5?
Yeah, the way I've seen it used, and I've actually used one before. To me, it's more of an elementary. I'm not saying the middle school age students couldn't benefit, or there couldn't be things that would help them, but it seems to lend itself more to elementary.
I saw this in the fields, and I did a little bit of research, and when I saw projectors for $18,000, I about had a stroke. So he and I have had an extensive conversation already, but you might want to include where the money's coming from.
Yeah, Renee Jones, this isn't this year's Title I funds. This is Title I funds we're gonna lose if we do not spend them, because we haven't spent it. So the tips, Renee, Ms. Jones, and we all got together, and this isn't buying technology for buying technology's sake. I don't wanna see something purchased that's not gonna be used, but it has advantages past even the immersive learning. If you have a dance in the gym, it can be used for that. The games they can be sports related, or they can be STEM and math related. And so the Title I funds are justified.
So it's not specifically ELA, English Language Arts, it's cross curriculum.
Yeah. Yep.
You saw the numbers on the wall. I'm sure that's got to do with math. You know, you're trying to put
Yep.
two balls to come
Yep.
up with a sum.
Superintendent Warble, obviously you like this, we plotted.
Yeah.
And we will approve those bills, okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
Maintenance on it.
Yeah, we have it with the warranty. It's not spelled out on the quote, but it was in the RFP. We did an RFP, I did RFQ, excuse me, I did a request for quotes on the TIPS contract, which the state recognizes as a valid contract. We received no responses. So at that point, I had to go back to Advantage Technology, who is located in Charleston. I said, well, I know bid is not considered a bid according to policy 8200. And I said, the only way you can do that is if you get me a sole source provider from the manufacturer, and they produced that. And Lauren presented that. My understanding is she presented that to the State Department to make sure it was okay.
So there is a maintenance contract.
It's under warranty. I think it was 3 or 4 years. Yep. We are expected to get the electrical power to the devices. After that, Advantage will run the Ethernet cabling and do the mounting. All of them, they've already did a pre-walkthrough to make sure that they could install it at all the locations. At Jumping Branch, it will require that the freezer cooler units be replaced with the outdoor unit before the loo can be installed, because it's going to take up the entire wall at Jumping Branch in their cafeteria. And if you know about Jumping Branch, they don't have a multi-purpose room or a gym. So this, on a rainy day, they're going to have something that they can do that they can't do at home on a rainy day. This is something they can do inside and maybe make better use of the space.
So you're buying 3 units?
Yes.
3 units.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's actually a renegotiated price, correct?
Yeah, and I just did some checking since we spoke. So I went through their quote of $18,500, but I have a previous email of where Lou agreed to give us a 2% cut off the price to help us compensate the shipping, because it's $625 to each site for shipping. This isn't a light piece of equipment, it comes in a crate. So I'm gonna go back.
I know a little something about projectors. I'm not sure.
Where
I'm
from?
not familiar with this particular, I'm not sure about this particular kind of projector. I would be curious as to whether or not, what kind of bulbs it uses, because I know that the bulbs in, say, a movie projector can be very
Yes.
expensive. So I would be interested to find out what the cost is on those and what the life is on those.
Yep.
Because did I mention very expensive?
Yes, so we
but-
just installed, I'm gonna piggyback
Okay.
on what you just said there. We just installed at the high school a new rear projection. Next time you do a presentation or have a meeting at the high school, you'll notice that you have now a widescreen rear projection, laser projector that you can see in with all the lights on from any angle in the auditorium. That little teeny thing that used to come down out of the ceiling, you couldn't see it, it was blurry, all that's been replaced. That projector has a definite end of life. You don't replace the bulb. At the end of the number of hours, it's done. So I'll go back and check and get an answer for you on that.
Just something that
Oh, yeah.
it can be an unexpected and an unexpectedly high cost if you're not expecting it, so.
Are you suggesting, Vice President Farley, that you might want to wait on approving this until you have additional information? We meet again on the 20th, but I don't know if we can have it there, meet on the 22nd, so.
Well, one thing I can help you do to speed it up, we have title money we gotta spend. And this is a year ago money, and you can't, at some point, they're gonna want it back in September.
Okay, so these funds need to be encumbered.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where I get your point of view and we'll get you the answers, because when you buy a printer, it's always the ink.
Right.
When you buy this, it's the bulbs. I get what you're saying, but this title money needs to get spent, because we have what you call a little bit extra money now, because last school year to this school year, we didn't spend title money because of pandemic, and we're trying to we can't just keep stacking it up. They're not going to allow people to keep carrying it over. You really need to spend it down by September is the goal. Having said that, you don't be wasteful with your money either. I get that. So, but this is a product where you can do indoor recess. You can make it more interactive. You can do a lot of things with it. But we can get all those. I agree. Those are some really good questions, because I didn't even know about that, what he just said. When the hours are up, the whole thing's done. So I've learned something new tonight myself.
So,
But this is really cool, the interactive aspect of this, it is a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's definitely elementary geared.
so what
It is.
What I can do is, even if you approve the purchase tonight, I'm still going to send that information out to you guys. And at any point, if somebody says, hey, let's wait on it, I'm gonna wait. But I'm gonna get the exact number of years warranty. I'm gonna get bulb replacement, or is it a definite end of life for the actual projector piece of it?
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions of either the superintendent or Mr. Lester? I have a question. The interactive this make teaching math and math facts in elementary fun and engaging?
Yeah.
They get a workout. It's amazing to watch even adults do it. Like, if what I'd like to do is get you guys involved maybe one time to see how it works. It's supposed to get kids up and moving, and it brings in body kinesthetic where you're moving around, but yet they're also learning at the same time. It's just another way to have fun while you're learning.
Well, I guarantee I wrote it.
Yeah.
Well,
The
we
first
got
time-
Mr. Brogan. He's the first guy to,
So this could be used, it could be used in the gymnasium by the PE teacher?
yes,
Yes.
it can.
We utilize more time on, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be a lot better in a bigger gym. Having said that, at least jumping branch, for the lack of space they have and getting those freezers out of there now, that will increase that space to make that wall interactive now. At least we have something
And that
for those
enti-
kids.
And that entire wall, it's 20 feet. That wall is exactly the minimum size needed. So the entire wall, from top to bottom, from left to right, when you're in that cafeteria, will be an interactive wall.
Our elementary kids at Talcott, Jumping Branch, and Hinton area need more space for their active young bodies and minds, and that is something that we need to work on. Okay, instructional initiatives, that was only one, that was enough, that is good. Any community volunteerism?
Not at this time.
Okay. That brings us to item 10, approval of bills. You have the packet of bills in front of you, listing each bill, and we're going to break these out. We're going to take safe and sound first. These are the bills presented to us by Superintendent Warble and CSBO. The chair moves that we pay the safe and sound bill.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor of the chair, seconded by Vice President Farley, that this board pay the safe and sound bill. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining.
I abstain.
Let the minutes reflect the 3 votes in the affirmative. This board has approved the paying of safe and sound bill. Please note in the minutes that Mr. Brogan abstained from any voting on this paying of this bill. We have the rest of the bills, and I have looked through these. Anybody see any bills there from McGraw-Hill or James and Law?
You're clear.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion that we pay the rest of the bills. Second.
There's a motion on the floor of Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride, that this board pay the bills as presented to us by the superintendent CSBO. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved, with the exception of any bills not be in there for James and Law and McGraw-Hill. Let the minutes reflect that and reflect that 4 votes in the affirmative, the bills have been approved for you to pay. Transfers and supplements.
There are none.
We have item 12, discussion of the appointment of a new board member. As everybody knows, we've lost a board member, Robert Angel. I'm going to read a list. I want everybody to be aware of it. We have a list of people who have come forth and made it known to this central office, and if there's somebody else there tomorrow in the community that wants to have their name added to the list, if they'll get in touch with the superintendent or the central office, they can have their name added. And I'm going to read this list now. Everybody has a copy before you, but I want to read it in the public. As of this date, April the 8th, the following people have indicated an interest in this board appointment due to the vacancy. We have Greg Angel, Janima Bond, Bethany Bowling, Megan Harvey, Chad Kellen, Nicole Miller, Billy Persinger, James Withrow. At this time, I would ask the other members, have you had any other notifications from anyone other than the ones read?
I have not, I haven't. Can we take names from anywhere in the county, or does it have to be the Bluestone district?
No, at this point in
At this
time,
point,
you take,
I'm sorry.
no, at this point in time, you take everybody who applies.
Okay.
Then what you will do is we need to make sure as a board that anybody that is in a certain district that's questionable, because if there's 2 board members that are in a district, that area takes those people off the list. But at this point in time, all you do is take names, and then what we'll do is we can check with the county court system to see where people live, because there are lines that say, well, I'm on this side versus this side, so we just want to make sure we get that cleared, everybody.
That's something we have to check out with Mary Beth.
Yep.
Mary asked for a residency, but at this time, we don't want anybody in the county to be discouraged from putting forth their name.
Correct.
So anybody in the county who would like to put their name forth, please do so. And I'm under the assumption that those names can come forward. There's no problem with those names coming forth right up to the day. Is there? I don't see any reason.
There is nothing that,
There's nothing in the statute or code that I have seen. Okay.
you
so
just have 45 days from his death, which would be
That's the
May
only
4th,
thing-
yes.
We read that.
Yep.
It's pretty wide open thing. There's really not any law or governance on it other than 45 days. And then, of course, the districts. Okay, having read those, I want to say, not to forget it, that appointment to fill the vacancy on this board, that appointment will take place on the April 22nd board meeting. April 22nd board meeting, this board will appoint from the eligible list a member to fill the vacancy so that this board has 5 members.
I was just now rethinking what we're discussing here. If we leave it open until the day of, we won't have time to check with Mary Beth to see if they're eligible.
It's a good point. However you guys want to do it.
We should probably cut it off the Monday of that week, the Thursday board meeting would be my suggestion.
Well,
Let's see.
I wouldn't argue that point, other than the fact she's in the office, that office's clerk is open until, I think, 4 p.m. daily. Business hours here, so I don't know.
The Monday of that week is the 19th,
Well, I mean,
20th, and 21st before the board meeting. I'm just
be
looking.
responsible for doing that.
Well, not I, sir. All I can do is,
Whoever it is, will they be available Thursday to go take care of that?
see, I don't know without asking Mary Beth that question. But if, instead of doing it right up to the last minute, but yet give,
Why don't
it's
you do a
however
close
you
of
all would like to
business
do
on
it.
Wednesday?
Do what?
Why don't you do a close of business on Wednesday?
You could do that, and that
That
is,
would give you all day Thursday to get it done, and maybe give Mary Beth a call, somebody, and let her know that we're going to have to do that.
Okay.
So that we know that somebody is available to check that for us.
so you all want to take applicants until April 21st?
What do you think?
Because I'll do my Sunday announcement to let people know that as well.
That
That-
stops
that's
about
fine with
24
me.
hours before.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
April 21st, close of business day. Okay.
Because we may have additional ones, and we certainly need to verify that the eligibility. So I think that's a good point you brought up, Mr. Brogan, I appreciate it. And so, you'll make that announcement?
Yeah.
21st, end of business day, 21st?
So when I say into business day, should we just be specific and say 4
4
p.m.? Just say 4 p.m.? Okay.
You don't have it in hand,
Okay.
it's not available, because we have announced this for several days.
10-4.
All right. That brings us to new business. Item 14A,
Whole business?
we didn't have any, did we?
No. No.
14A, approved purchase over $20,000. You have that in front of you in your packet. We have RT Rogers Oil Company, 65,000 CARES Act. Can you tell us about that one, Superintendent Wardle?
Just basically, we're using the CARES Act funding to pay for the oil bills, so this will help us out with our county to keep us more solvent. So any CARES money or COVID money, ESRF, whatever you want to call that from the federal government, we're trying to use with the federal government guidelines to use those monies to start saving county money, to start working on preventative maintenance on our facilities for educational purposes, for anything that we might need in the future, and or any other resources we can think of. So we're just trying to use that money first to build up county money. Last thing you all want to do is look at levies, and that's what I'm trying to keep away from.
Nothing wrong with that rainy day.
No,
And,
no.
you have sound, solid documentation that you put away to justify these two expenditures.
Oh, your definition of sound and solid will be very fluid, buddy. With the state government and federal government, we are getting all kinds of guidance daily, and it's amazing how that works.
As of this moment, when we're approving this superintendent work.
Yeah.
I know things will change later, but I'm only holding you to today at this moment.
Okay.
Okay, so.
I'm just
I
giving
think
you a
that
hard
answers
time.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Based on that, the chair moves that this board approve the expenditure for RT Rogers Oil Company at $65,000, CARES Act, Advantage Technology, $70,875, Title I monies.
That's what Mr. Lester
That's correct.
presented on, yes.
There's a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor by the chair, second by Mr. Brogan. This board approve the superintendent's recommendation on the RT Rogers Oil Company $65,000 purchase, Advantage Technology purchase $70,875. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. 4 votes in affirmative, Superintendent Warble. Based on the factual proofs you've given us, we're okay. All right. That brings us to item 14B. This is approved policies to continue on review. And those policies are, and they have been on review now for a couple of weeks. And that is policy 2B4, remote school board effectiveness, promoting school board effectiveness. Policy 4-H-4, reduction in force laterally. Policy 7-C-1, student grievance procedures. Policy 4-L-3, Title IX, sexual harassment. Policy 7-C-1, guidelines and procedures. That's Title IX, sexual harassment. Everyone was given copies of these before, and having read through them, they're very lengthy, and these are, by the way, the ones that Trey Mahone at Bowles Rice has been working on. So at this time, the chair moves that we approve that these policies, four red policies, continue on review.
Second.
Motion on the floor, chair, second by Vice President Farley, that this board approve that the policies listed and publicized under 14B remain on review. Any discussion?
Just a quick question. We haven't been forwarded any responses to any of this. Has there been any?
Have you
I sent two
two so far?
to Marcia.
Okay, 2 have been sent to Marcia, so we can get you those comments. But I'd like to compile them by the next board meeting so you can see what they're,
That'd be good.
And-
You would bring
and they
that
were
to
mine.
us in the next
Are
board
they?
meeting.
They were just technical.
oh, they were by Mr. Lester, they're technical questions. So,
Okay, Mr. Lester, you address that with us, please, at the next meeting, okay? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. 4 votes in the affirmative. These policies that we read previously under 14B have been approved to remain on review. At this time, the chair would like to put forth a motion. I move that the board ask Superintendent Warble to include these on the agenda next time for consideration for approval.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor of the chair, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we ask Superintendent Warble to place these items on the agenda for consideration of approval on these policies at the next meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. 4 votes in the affirmative. Mr. Warble, would you put that on the agenda for us then next time? So
Yes.
we can consider approving these, because we need to have these approved, and by that time, you may even have more from Mr. Mahone that we need to put out on review and look at.
Yeah, because he should be back with you all on the 22nd for an update for the next round. Yes, sir.
That takes us to item 14C, approved memorandum of understanding between school resource officer for the Summers County Comprehensive High School Facility and the Summers County Board of Education. We have had a couple presentations and meetings from the sheriff's office. Superintendent Warble, do you have some comments or points you want to make on that before we take this up?
No, basically it's good to work with our new sheriff, and he is gung-ho about supporting this endeavor, and we're glad to have them on board with us for two reasons. When the state board did do a review, one of the things they've noticed was some discipline issues at the secondary level. Now, an SRO is not the right way to deal with discipline, but it's another way to maybe work with students with discipline issues. And I don't mean to be punitive, I mean for an SRO to prevent problems in the future and maybe just have a chat with the students as a guide on the side. Having said that, I've also worked with the sheriff, and we can put this on the next agenda for future discussion items. But with our CARES Act money, ESERF, whatever you want to call it, that's coming down from the stimulus package, we look like we might be able to go ahead and have another school resource officer using those funds at the elementaries. So he is all excited about hearing that, but I said maybe you could come to a board meeting, update the board on that idea. It's just the thought that he and I have been throwing around. Maybe we would like to do that, but at this point in time, we do have funds to use from our title money to make sure this happens, and this is for the secondary level, and we're excited to work with the sheriff's department to make this come to fruition.
Okay. We have memorandum here for approval.
I'll make a motion that we take under consideration the memorandum of understanding with Summers County Sheriff's Department.
Second. If I restate this improperly, correct me. There's a motion on the floor, Mr. Brogan, second by Mr. McBride, that this board approve memorandum of understanding between school resource officer for Summers County Comprehensive High School Facility and the Summers County Board of Education. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed, abstained. 4 votes in the affirmative to approve item 14C, the MOU with school resource officer in the County Comprehensive High School Facility.
I really like number 4 on page 2, where the Summers County Sheriff's Department will be responsible for the employer's share of all employee-related benefits. That's big.
Okay. And Superintendent Warble, item 14C is approved, 4 votes in affirmative. 14D, approved memorandum of agreement between West Virginia University Cooperative Extension Service, the County Extension Service Committee, and the Summers County Board of Education. The chair moves that the board approve the memorandum of understanding between memorandum of agreement between Western University Cooperative Extension Service, the County Extension Service Committee, and the Summers County Board of Education. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion on the floor of the chair, second by Mr. McBride. This board approved. Item 14D. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, abstaining. 4 votes in affirmative, Superintendent Warble. 14D has been approved. Item 14E, approved memorandum of understanding between June Harlow Center and the Summers County Board of Education. We've had presentation on this, and as I understand it, Superintendent Warble, you want to just briefly tell us again what June Harlow is doing and when?
This Saturday, actually, June Harless will be here to give professional development to our elementary staff. They're going to do that twice this month, and then they're going to do it twice next month for our secondary staff. And it is dealing with STEM initiatives on math, science, technology, engineering, and math. And what we're going to do is, as a group, they're going to come in and not do sit and get. They are going to be involved for about 6 hours they'll have lunch, and they'll learn some things that they can do in the classroom with technology. There'll be a survey at the end, and we'll see what our staff has to say about it. But I've had a few people come up and say they're pretty excited about it, and then they're like, what is it all about again? I said, just come, you'll see, you'll enjoy the day. We do pay a stipend to our staff members for coming that day, and so the staff will be paid, they'll get professional development, and they'll take those resources and they can use them back in the classroom right away. And this will help us with summer school as well. So you don't have to come to this to be a summer school teacher, but whatever you do learn here, you can apply that to our summer school camps as well. But you can do it first in the classroom before you do it in the summer school, so you can become better at that craft.
She sent that out to her.
Previously, we
Oh,
approved
okay.
the engagement with them, did we not?
Yes.
And a price, we did that previously.
Yeah, this is just now saying that Dr. Barb Maynard and J.D. Maurer have signed off, and I have to have you all approve that I can sign this MOU, and then we're ready to move forward. You've already approved the money, yes. We just have to have an MOU saying they're gonna do the work, and you guys are agreeing for me to sign off on this MOU.
And in the future, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is June Harless gonna be working with our elementary teachers for them to become certified in math.
Yes, it's called math credentialing.
Math credentialing.
Yes.
Which would be accomplished by when?
By next school year, next calendar year, or school year, if you will. So it'll be 21-22 school year.
And is that gonna be done over the summer, that's primary on that?
Well, we're still working out that, because they also work with the other counties, and so June Harless is pretty busy, but they focus on rural schools first.
Okay. Chair moves this board approve the memorandum of understanding between June Harless Center and Summers County Board of Education as presented to us by the superintendent.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor with chair, second by Vice President Farley, this board approve the memorandum of understanding between June Harless Center and Summers County Board of Education as presented to us recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining. 4 votes in the affirmative, superintendent order. Item 14F, we have approved milk and food bids. Can you enlighten us, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna yield to Dr. Knott on F and G. So we'll talk about the milk and food bids first, and Dr. Knott, I'll yield to you.
Okay, the milk and food bids, there's 2 separate bids. We have to rebid every 3 years. It's a 1-year bid, but we can roll it over twice. The food bid is part of a 8-county cooperative that we belong to. And we had 3 vendors who responded, and we chose Gordon Food HPS. It's part of a group purchasing organization. Actually, so is the one that we're currently in, but this was our 3rd year with US Foods, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So Gordon's was the best bid. The whole the co-op unanimously, after reviewing the bids, chose them. I think you have documentation to that process. So it'll be for 1 year, and then this time next year we'll look at it again and do a rollover or not rebid. The milk bid is county only. That's just Summers County. We had 2 responses, and there was an opening, and we went through it with both representatives here, and our current milk vendor is the one who received that award.
That's east side.
Yes, they've changed their name several times. It's
If it was-
Broughton.
If it was me, I'd pay the extra 3 cents a carton for the United. I get it.
I think there were maybe 14 items, and they were the lowest on all but 2, so.
And Dr. Knott, that's part of an 8-county co-op.
The food bid, the big one is, yes.
Well, you've heard it, guys.
I make a motion we approve milk and food bids.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Vice President Farley, seconded by Mr. McBride. that this board approve the milk and food bids presented to us. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstaining. 4 votes in the affirmative, Superintendent Ward, we have approved item 14F, milk and food bids.
Sorry to interrupt, but who, tonight I'm the guy who's taking the notes. Who made the motion?
Ms. Farley,
Okay.
and seconded by Mr. McBride.
Thank you, guys.
4 votes in the affirmative. At this time, Vice President Farley, I'm gonna leave the room, and I'd like for you to handle item 14G. Call me back when you're finished.
Okay, item 14G, approve the ELA textbook adoption. And is that also you, Mrs. Dr. Knopf?
Yeah, I'm speaking for Ms. Jones.
Okay.
For grades K through 6, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, West Virginia into reading, and for grades 7 through 12, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, West Virginia into literature were the ones chosen. She has some notes here. Just so you know, there is a county textbook adoption committee, and there were representatives from each school, and they attended the West Virginia virtual caravans. And then Ms. Jones held 2 county textbook adoption committee virtual meetings for discussion and evaluation of strengths and weaknesses of each of the textbook publishers. And there were quite a few, I think there were 8 possibly. And then there was an ELA textbook adoption online ballot for all of the county teachers who teach ELA and the school principals, and that was on April 6th and 7th. She had 39 responses out of the 53 teachers and principals, and kind of significantly, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt was chosen at those levels.
I'll make a motion, we approve the ELA textbook adoption with the aforementioned company.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And we have Mr. Duncan to abstain. All right, let the record reflect that by 3-0 vote, it passed. Thank you, Dr. Knopf.
I'll bring the count.
48, it's all yours.
Thank you. We have calendar public hearing, Superintendent Warble.
Yeah, again, like Dr. Knott said earlier, there's a committee that was not only held for textbook adoption, but we had a committee for the calendar. This year, the 2 calendars that were fleshed out by the committee, we had quite a few at the beginning, and finally we were all able to agree on 2 calendars here. You should have them in front of you, they're color coded there. But basically it'll show you that when school will start and when school will end, and then days that we'll take off for vacation days like Thanksgiving and Christmas and a spring break. Basically that's what you kind of work around, and when school starts. At this point in time, all counties in the state of West Virginia are moving forward with their calendar committees and to present to boards to approve. Until we hear anything else different from the legislatures or Governor Jim Justice, we're going to move forward. This year was a little bit different, starting school after Labor Day and ending by basically Memorial Day weekend. We had to squeeze basically 180 days into 175 days. So next school year, we did meet the guidelines that are set forth with calendars. You can see both of them are pretty similar, but graduation is still the same on both calendars. It's just looking at the start date and end date. And then we also put in there, you got to think about May 10th as a general election day as well for the schools to be used that day. But we have to squeeze in all the days we possibly can. But the committee did agree that if we had to make up days with snow and all that, because there is a situation where we can use remote learning to a point, but you can't abuse it because you can't say we're in a pandemic still. Now, if we still are in a pandemic and we get guidelines that we can use remote like we did, but we are now trying to move back into the traditional school setting like we're accustomed to. So at this point in time, here are your 2 calendars. There's no action to be taken tonight. This is a public hearing. At the next board meeting, we can have you guys accept a calendar. But unless there's anybody here that came to talk about the calendar, I don't know if there's, okay. This is where we came to an agreement at this point in time. Service and professionals did represent. We had a great dialogue. We had people here in the board office and we had people out in Zoom, but it was good conversations had by all as we move forward to try to come down to 2 calendars.
Have these been sent out yet? The staff?
From what I understand, I don't know, you guys can speak more intelligently or not, then I'm hearing a no. All I know is there's a committee and that information is get out, so you guys take, what, bus drivers have heard about it?
We've talked about them, but not as far as like receiving them.
Okay.
Do anything with
Well,
them.
here's 2 of them they can take with them tonight. This is the beginning.
Right.
I'm sure if anybody has anything to say, I can tell you from, since you're here representing Hinton area, what's kind of comical about that is, it was Miss Leslie, right? She represented? She thought, and I'm giving with all due respect because I understand what she was trying to do. You think you have a calendar just right, and she started seeing double. But when you count these numbers and you accidentally put an extra number or you place something, it throws it off completely. And it was actually kind of comical to hear people talking because I thought, well, I guess I don't feel that bad because I guess they see how I feel when I'm trying to come up with these dates too. But long story short, it was nice to have a great conversation from all parties. But we learned a lesson with deer hunting, so you can see that's represented. And we will have Christmas this year, and hopefully not many snow days. But having said that, with all jokes aside, this was a process by all the schools. But before anybody leaves, make sure you take the 2 copies with you so you can start having a discussion about it. Because I have no problem with the 2 calendars they came up with. This is what they presented to me, so now I'm presenting it to you as a board.
Okay. And we'll have that on the agenda, and we'll be approving a
Yep.
calendar next time.
Yep.
Okay? That brings us down to item 15, personnel items. Mr. Brogan, you mentioned something to me.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session under code 6-9A-4 under personnel.
Second. There's a motion on the floor of Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride. This board go into executive session for personnel under 6-9A-4 personnel, paragraph 2. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. 4 votes in the affirmative, this board has moved and approved going into executive session for item 15, personnel. 4 votes, so at this time, do you want to go to the back, you want to stay, what do you want to do?
We'll just do like we did, stay here.
Stay here?
Yeah, I
ask
can.
everybody to
Yeah, I
leave
can.
their
It's
spot?
easier for me to present. All right, we're unmuted.
Angel, were you the last person coming in? Is that everybody?
That was me, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, the chair calls it, are you ready to go?
You're good.
We're good? Yeah. Chair calls this meeting back to order. Time is 8:03. We've come back to order after being in the executive session on personnel. So, that brings us back, we're at item 15, and this is, superintendent recommends the following. Eric Withers, Director of Facilities, Personnel, Technology, and Attendance, effective April 9th. Superintendent Warwick, is that a resignation or a retirement?
That is resignation.
That's a resignation.
Resignation.
And we have documentation here with his signature, and you have that on file.
Yes, we have it right here. He gave it to me on March 29th.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
The chair moves that this board accept the superintendent's recommendation and accept the resignation of Eric Withers as Director of Facilities, Personnel, Technology, and Attendance with an effective date of April 9th.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor of the chair, seconded by Vice President Farley. This board accept the resignation of Eric Withers as Director of Facilities, Personnel, Technology, and Attendance effective April 9th, 2021, as per Superintendent Warwell's recommendation. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Let the minutes reflect that by a vote of 4-0 in affirmative, this board has accepted the resignation of Eric Withers, Director of Facilities, Personnel, Technology, and Attendance effective April 9th, 2021. Okay, we'll go to the next page on the agenda. Superintendent Warble, because you were doing interviews and I think checking references, we're going to need to ask you for the name of your recommendation on Director of Facilities, Technology, and Attendance.
Ken Lester, effective 4/12, so it'd be Monday, April 12th. And then the credentials, you have a copy of his certificate.
There's a copy here of Kenneth Ray Lester. Yes, we have that. Everybody see that? Okay. And funding source being the county. Okay. So you've given us that name. Superintendent, probably, since we didn't have this name on here, would you voice that or verbalize that recommendation
Yeah.
on that one?
Kenneth Lester,
Okay. Your
effective date,
recommendation?
yeah, his recommendation for Director of Facilities, Technology, and Attendance, starting
And,
Monday the 12th.
Okay. And members, we typically take these in conjunction, all of them together. Is is that okay with everybody? Okay. Well, we have before us then superintendent recommendation, hiring of Ken Lester, Cassidy Berry, service personnel, that was professional service personnel, Sienna Kales, Austin Bauer, and then we have coaching, Joe Blankenship, and
You want me to explain the amount on Joe Blankenship real quick?
sure.
Well, we had an assistant coach, that person resigned, and then it changed the amount of money, and he's only allotted the 80% per Board of Ed policy. So we had to make adjustments to make that correct because there's one less coach,
And
basically.
that is a written board policy.
That is a written board policy,
Very good.
yes, sir.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion. Anybody, we're gonna take all of those. I've read all the names. This has been posted as per the Open Meetings Act for the allotted time, and it has been posted.
I'll make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendations.
Chair seconds it. There is a motion on the floor by Mr. Brogan, seconded by the chair, that this board accept the superintendent's recommendations for the hiring of professional personnel, Ken Lester, Cassidy Berry, service personnel, Sienna Kales, Austin Bauer, and coaching, Joe Blankenship. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstained. 4 votes in affirmative, Superintendent Warble. all of your recommendations on hiring have been approved of this board. That takes us down to superintendent's report.
I'll make this pretty quick. We did get documentation email from Superintendent Birch's Department of Ed. Michelle Blatt sent us waiver information for the federal government. We will still take state tests. That'll give us a benchmark of how we're doing, but it's not an accountability tool like it has been in the past. So there's been a waiver that's been granted to the state of West Virginia, but that doesn't mean no testing. It means we will test without anything punitive. But the good news about a test like that is we need to see some kind of data. We really don't know the effects of how this is really, we have some ideas obviously, guys, but we will take tests. We will use that data to move forward and dovetail that into our strategic plan. But having said that, we did get guidance from the State Department of a waiver. I'm sure all 50 states will get that from the federal government, but I wanted to keep you up to date on that because we are going into testing. I know it sounds kind of weird, but we are at that point in time this school year to go into state testing. Having said that, we should be ready with everything as we move forward with that. The other thing, I'm going to give you more update, but we have found, I'll give you more details, so hold on, about a leak at the high school. It is not the meter. We have found a leak or two, and I will give you more details as soon as Charlie gives me more information. But we have a gentleman, Scott Gilligan, from DSO Mechanical is coming tomorrow, or one of their people, to look at our water tower, which is still under warranty, but that's not the main cause. I can't give you more information because until we get a person here from that company and Charlie working with them, at the next board meeting I should give you a full report on our water condition. And hopefully we have stopped the problem of a leak for the last 8 years, which has cost this district about $250,000.
I did a little math on that, about $2,600 a month. That's almost a salary.
Well, $250,000 can do a lot of different things. It's about $60,000 a year, somewhere, yeah, give or take. Yep. But the good news is, once we get that fixed, we're going to be doing a lot better on savings of half of $60,000. Our water bill should be closer to $30,000. That's more appropriate.
And you indicate that's been going on for how many years?
About 8 years.
8 years.
About. I'll give you more detail at the next board meeting, but I need Lauren to verify numbers, and I need Charlie to verify the leaks and what took place with this company coming tomorrow, DSO Mechanical, with our water tower. Okay? So if you ask any more questions, I can honestly say I don't know until we find out more. But I did not want to come to you one more time saying we can't find it. So the good news is we're getting closer. Yeah, it was getting. I'm sure it was. As a board member, you should be frustrated.
I want to say from my part, thank you and all the members of your staff who worked on this, recognized it,
Yeah.
and corrected this error. That's much appreciated, and that's good due diligence.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Okay.
That's all I have.
If anybody has anything on the next agenda, just contact Superintendent Worrell and ask him if he would put that on the agenda. Other than that,
I have a couple items for you about the next agenda.
all right.
Just for you to know, on 4/20, you got to finish that statutory meeting.
And is that going to be a 10 a.m. meeting?
That's a 10 a.m. because it's only going to be about 5 or 10 more minutes. You guys have already been paid for it at the last meeting when you recessed.
paid again.
You will not be paid again. It'll be 10 o'clock here in the office. If you need to call in because of work, you can do that. On 4/22, you do have a public budget hearing at 6 p.m. at the Memorial Building, and that's where you've already made that announcement. That's going to be where our board meetings are going to be, and that'll also be our second calendar hearing. So we'll have more information for you as we look at trying to pick a calendar.
And we're going to take up and decide whether we're going to approve those 5 policy changes that have been needed to be done
Correct.
since 1970.
Yes,
Okay?
that's what I have for discussions of the next.
Vice President Farley, you're on.
I make a motion we adjourn. The time is now 8:13.